Very good evening. You're watching the Free Press Journal live on YouTube, Twitter, as well as on Facebook. I am Afrida Rahman Ali. We are going to look at the issue of the voter list revision in Bihar. Why Bihar? Why now? What exactly is the need to conduct this exercise so close to the state elections, which are scheduled later this year? A number of questions have arisen, and also now Supreme Court has taken up the matter. We want to go into some important aspects of the Supreme Court observations as well and the legal aspect of it. Joining me today is Senior Advocate Haresh Jagtiani, who is with me live at the moment. Good evening, Mr. Jagtiani. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
I'll just tell my viewers here that you are considered a stalwart of the Indian legal fraternity, a very senior advocate, over 5 decades of experience at the bar, a formidable reputation in both litigation and arbitration. Mr. Jagtiani has represented some of the biggest names in India and across the globe. He's also the founder and the managing partner of OS Counsel and Advisory, a respected mentor, I must say, to generations of aspiring lawyers. Thank you, Mr. Jagtiani. May I begin with the question that when you see this entire exercise being adopted by the Election Commission of India at a time like this, what is it that you think is inappropriate as many petitioners are raising? Why is it even a controversy if the EC has decided to revise the voters list at this point of time?
Well, I think something very, very basic and fundamental, according to me, is that this entire exercise is one of exclusionary process rather than an inclusionary process. And nothing more than that will erode the confidence of the people in their right to vote. I mean, it really can't be overstated or underscored enough as to how important the right to vote is. I think yesterday morning's Indian Express carries an excellent piece by S.Y. Qureshi, the former election commissioner. And he talks about how in the farthest flung corners of India, there are just 65 voters at a height of 15,000 feet above sea level, somewhere in the Himalayan regions. And there, voting booths have been provided by the Election Commission to ensure that no one is left without a vote. Now that just goes it. And by the way, I don't think it's replicated, this sort of a thing is replicated in any part of the world. That's how sacrosanct a vote is. And many other illustrations are given by him. We just can't afford to have public confidence eroded in an area which is as sensitive as the right to vote. And having said that, this entire exercise, I mean, I've heard experts on the subject, and they say that if it's not properly conducted, as many as 2 crores voters would lose their right to vote. Of course, the Supreme Court has intervened. It all remains to be seen how that is rectified. So this is my first observation on this, that it should take a very serious toll on public confidence in the whole democratic process.
Right. But are we more concerned about the fact that there is no time to even contest, if somebody is disenfranchised or if a paper is not in order? This is coming so close to call that it is almost as if you do not figure in the revised rules, you have absolutely no time to even go about following a legal process or making a counter appeal. Is that a concern? Is the timing and the closeness to the elections a big concern here?
Absolutely, it's a very, very serious concern. Firstly, there is a 2003 electoral roll in existence. People have voted, those who were registered on that vote, have voted 5 times, 5 general elections and 5 assembly elections on the same voter base. Where is the need now, just a few months away? And mind you, this is doing the entire exercise de novo. You're virtually rewriting the electoral rolls. Logistically, it's impossible to carry out this exercise in the manner which has been proposed. It's now that the Supreme Court has intervened and they have recommended that your Aadhaar card should be recognized as your identity, as proof of citizenship. Apart from that, it's even recommended that your ration card should be recognized. But otherwise, these were included in the list of 11. So certainly
Yeah, because
when
the next hearing is on the 28th of July. The
that's,
EC has been directed to file its affidavit. And
that's
what you said is very important here, and I would like to highlight that bit for our viewers, that if you have arbitrarily chosen a year 2003, and all those who registered before that have to just go through a minor process, but those who have registered after has to go through this rigor of providing that many documents, does that mean that you've allowed the same voters to exercise their franchise in 5 elections? Are they all fraudulent? So it would raise very serious concerns, and it would open out a Pandora's box there. I do take your point on that. But my counterpoint, yeah, carry on, Mr. Jagtiani.
so I said, but just take the political reality.
Hmm.
Political parties have changed with the same
Hmm.
voter base. So why are you
Yeah,
finding fault with that voter base? So therefore, all these 5 elections have been considered to be free and fair. Why are
yeah.
you tinkering it in a manner that you're going to
Hmm.
exclude from the same voter base almost 2
Yeah.
crores of people? Where is the warrant for it? You have to have such compelling reasons to do that. And its
Hmm.
proximity to the elections is certainly something of
Make
very, very serious.
suspect. Yeah. Yeah. So let me tell you, Mr. Jagtiani, what the senior advocate Rakesh Dwivedi, who represents the Election Commission, has to say. He says we have already reached out to 7.89 crore voters personally through mobile numbers and house visit. He said 5.7 crore people have been confirmed. Field officers are collecting door-to-door data, uploading it through ECINet, a real-time monitoring system. He even assured the court that there is no intent to exclude anyone. And in fact, what he says is, let us finish the process. And if there are large exclusions, the commission can intervene later. Is there a problem with that?
No, I mean, but look, this is an argument in court which is obviously going to be advanced by the adversary. But the
Hmm.
basic question is why? Why are
Hmm.
you rewriting the 2003 electoral rolls when it has worked so satisfactorily over a span of 5 elections? You must have, and you must answer the why question first before
Yeah.
giving the solution. That why question
Hmm.
remains blissfully unanswered. Now that
Hmm.
I can understand, you take the new guys, put them in, but make it easy. And of course,
Hmm.
Bihar has its own logistic problem. So, for instance, one of the requirements is a matriculation certificate.
Hmm.
I mean, we all know that the literacy levels in Bihar are dismally low.
Hmm.
Dismally, I mean, this is what I've heard
Yeah.
in the interviews. Why then, therefore, are you bypassing or ignoring a system that works and
Hmm. Hmm.
making it so onerous for someone to come on
Hmm.
again, which means this entire 2003 the roles are to be discarded. So what if you
Hmm.
reached out
Hmm.
to 7 crores workers? Even if you let's suppose even if you exclude just a crore
Hmm.
or crore and a half, that's a huge number. What he
Hmm.
doesn't
Hmm.
answer
Hmm.
is the why question. Where is the
Yeah.
need to do it?
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Absolutely. But, there's another very important aspect here which the petitioners are raising, that, this would actually amount to a scanning for citizenship, which is not under the Election Commission's jurisdiction. And Kapil Sibal has said this, that the burden is not on me to prove citizenship. If I'm being removed from the role, you have to prove I'm not a citizen. Also, he says that people without certain documents may be silently removed from the voter list, those from the vulnerable communities, as you also mentioned, and that would amount to a serious number of disenfranchisement.
Absolutely. What about the migrant workers? How are they going to come
Hmm.
back and meet with the
Hmm.
demands that are being raised by the Election Commission? Certainly.
Yeah.
And Kapil Sibal is absolutely right when he says the onus is on someone when he says you're not a citizen. You ask him that, well,
Hmm.
establish I'm not. Because the roles have been, I've been here since Kingdom Come. I have voted.
Hmm.
I am a law abiding citizen. Why do you now
Hmm.
say I'm not a citizen? That
Yeah.
onus is clearly on the government. It's not for me to prove that I'm a citizen when I've been accepted as such in the last so many
Hmm.
years.
Hmm. And in any case, it is not the EC's job, isn't it? I mean, does
It's
it
not.
come under the purview of the Election Commission to conduct sort of a citizens register?
Not at, not at all. Not at all. He's
Hmm.
exceeding his jurisdiction. He doesn't have. He doesn't have the
Hmm. Hmm.
jurisdiction. That's another
Hmm.
department altogether. That of the Home
Yeah.
Ministry.
Yeah, but another matter under contention is the non-acceptance of documents like Aadhaar.
Yes.
That has also drawn a lot of scrutiny as to why suddenly Aadhaar is not a good enough document.
I mean, now one argument against that is that when Aadhaar cards were issued, it was not on
Hmm.
the basis of citizenship. But that's
Hmm.
not the point
Hmm.
at all. The point is it's a
Yeah.
document
Hmm.
which is valid for everything. I mean, you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
can't get any work done except with an Aadhaar
Hmm.
card. So therefore, you
Hmm.
can't you
Hmm.
can't
Hmm.
remove the sanctity of the Aadhaar card now, and especially and
Hmm.
discard it for something which is as important as proving your basis in India, B2B in
Yeah,
India.
so if your citizenship question is not even there, which it should not be there, if since election commission does not hold the authority to scrutinize citizenship, then Aadhaar should be accepted. As simple as that. Did I get you correctly?
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So in final analysis, Mr. Jagtiani, what would be your observation on where this goes from here? Because clearly political motives are being attributed as well to this whole thing, that there is a reason why this is being done to eliminate a certain section. Do you subscribe to that view?
No, I mean, no, but you see, I have very little information on that front, and I don't
Hmm.
speculate. I don't like speculating.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
looking
Hmm.
at the process by itself. Just
Yeah.
first of all, let's understand
Hmm.
why the Constitution brought in the whole concept of adult franchise. When it
Hmm.
came in the Constitution, and by the way, this was at Mahatma Gandhi's insistence. A lot of debate was raised there. You must have a minimum qualification, etc. He recognized the disparity in the Indian population. There were people living, large number of them, almost half of them, living below poverty line. The others living well above. There was a complete disparity in literacy levels as well as in their wealth. And he realized that the only way in which you can at least once in every 5 years give these people a chance to exercise their ballot and exercise their preference is by having adult franchise, because that churning process would then help bring about some sort of give them a voice which they didn't
Hmm.
have by virtue of their position in life. This is the
Hmm. Hmm.
importance of the whole adult franchise basis. Now all that is coming back, you're questioning that, asking for a matriculation certificate. And mind
Hmm.
you, this is exactly the pernicious practice that had been practiced by
Hmm.
America
Hmm.
to keep the black
Hmm.
voters out.
Yeah, and it
Simply
throws the
because
entire electorate into a quandary, and that is an aspect we must highlight. That in all of this, the people on ground suffer, and they
why
are being made to run pillar to post.
why are we proud to call ourselves the world's largest democracy? Is
Hmm.
because you have assiduously maintained your democratic character. And just see,
Hmm. Hmm.
look at the whole electoral process from 1952, 1950 when we had our first elections. You had during the height of just after the emergency and before that, when Mrs. Gandhi's party had an overwhelming majority, she was thrown out of power by the same electorate and then
Hmm.
bounced back
Hmm.
after
Hmm.
20 months. Why are you finding fault with the rolls? Why are you finding fault with the electoral
Hmm. Hmm.
process as it exists right now? So therefore,
Hmm.
it has worked. It has taught those despotic leaders a lesson. Put them in their place. That is the hallmark of democracy. That one
Hmm.
single
Hmm.
voice matters, and therefore, in that sense, you can't tinker with this. A system
Yeah.
that has
Yeah.
worked, and we are certainly proud, and the whole world talks about
Hmm.
India being a showcase in the
Hmm.
exercise of its democratic rights. It is something
Yeah.
marvelous. It's something
Yeah.
absolutely marvelous. And an institution
Hmm.
which is delivered, you're tinkering with
Hmm.
it at a time like this. These are
Yeah.
very, very fundamental things to question.
Absolutely. Because you are also raising the point about exceeding one's brief, exceeding one's jurisdiction happens to be, the issue of citizenship, which is a sacrosanct matter, I would say. I would just request you to hold your thoughts, and I'll come to you for closing comments, playing out what Yogendra Yadav said earlier, and also someone from the a lawyer from the election commission. Let me play out both and come to you for closing comments. Here is
Sure.
Yogendra Yadav, who spoke earlier
करोड़ों
today.
लोगों के सर्टिफिकेट्स की जांच करके ये कैसे सुनिश्चित कर लोगे कि एक भी गलत व्यक्ति ना छूटे? इसके लिए चुनाव आयोग के पास कोई जवाब नहीं था। जो सवाल हम जैसे लोग पूछ रहे थे और जिनका जवाब देने से चुनाव आयोग पिछले 3 हफ्ते से कतरा रहा था, बच रहा था, तमाम किस्म की झूठी बातें कह रहा था, आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट में उसका जवाब देना पड़ा और उनके पास कोई जवाब नहीं है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने आज सुझाव दिया है। मतलब सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक तरह से चुनाव आयोग को कहा है कि या तो 15 दिन में तुम सुधर जाओ, नहीं तो हमें कुछ करना पड़ेगा। भाषा देखिए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि हमारे विचार से प्राथमिक दृष्टि में न्याय संगत यही होगा कि आप आधार कार्ड को स्वीकार कीजिए, अपने एपिक कार्ड को स्वीकार कीजिए, राशन कार्ड को स्वीकार कीजिए। और
So that is Yogendra Yadav on what the court, Supreme Court observed. Let's also listen in
वही लोग
to Talha
चुनाव
Abdul
सूची में
Rahman.
जुड़े जो उसकी पात्रता रखते हो, और इस नाते से स्पेशल रिवीजन चुनाव आयोग कर रही है, वो अपने उनके दायरे में है, जिसको कल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी ठहराया है। और मुझे लगता है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट के अब इस आदेश के बाद अब इस विषय पर विराम लग जाना चाहिए और सब लोग मिलकर के ये तय करें कि केवल वही लोग रहें जो वास्तव में बिहार के वोटर हैं।
So basically, you know, Ms. Jagtiani, the argument from the other side is also that illegal immigrants, intrusions into the role have happened because of Bihar being a border state, and those must be weeded out. That's the point I heard just now. Your response to it, please.
But the exercise is not aimed at illegal immigrants, it's aimed at everyone. You're actually starting a process of disenfranchising everyone and then putting those who are eligible according to you to a very stringent test. Now, in the process, you are ignoring factors which have already been considered and gone into effect to give these people their legitimacy. Now, how can you therefore disenfranchise everyone to start with, only with a view to keep some of those who may have illegally crept into the rolls, only for them, you therefore disenfranchise everyone? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense in terms of logistics, in terms of numbers, it just doesn't make sense.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Haresh Jagtiani, for your time. Appreciate your joining us this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.